Okay, everybody, it is noon, so we want to start the program. I know you'll all be enjoying your lunch. We want to thank the Marriott for giving us this lunch you're about to eat and enjoy. But let's get started. We are officially live streaming, so welcome to everybody who's watching at home to the 2021 Tin Cup Lunch. We hope you're ready to hear some of the amazing stories about all of the help and services Salvation Army has brought to the community in the past year. So we want to thank again Hinckley Productions and MG&E for making the live stream possible for everybody to be watching at home. Obviously, a lot has changed since the last Tin Cup Lunch, the last time everyone was able to get together. The pandemic brought challenges to everyone, every organization, but for the Salvation Army, it really brought an opportunity for change. So we're going to highlight some of that today. Throughout the afternoon, you'll hear from leaders, collaborators, and some of the people that the organization has helped during the past year. So to get everyone up to speed, we want to start with one of the new videos that you can watch that explains some of the programs and the services that have been offered, and it looks back on some of the changes that have happened for the organization in the past year. So you can watch either.
At the beginning of the pandemic, we operated the only emergency family shelter in Dane County. Families would call in before noon. We'd call them back and let them know if they were pre-approved for shelter for the night. We had about 22 on average families that were staying here, and then denying anywhere from 2 to 16 families a night. When COVID hit, family shelter call-ins increased, and then we transitioned everybody from East Wash to hotels. So we increased the amount of rooms we could serve, the amount of families we had, from 22 to 65. So our women's shelter was in this gym. We had 45 beds average. During COVID, we moved everybody from the gym upstairs into the rooms that the families used to sleep in, and we increased our capacity from 45 women a night to 65 women a night. Not everybody that calls into shelter necessarily needs to come into shelter and use a bed. So the thought is that when somebody calls in, you ask for other services that they can kind of connect within the community. Do they have a family member that'll let them stay there if we pay a half month's rent or a utility bill? Anybody that comes into our doors within the first 7 days, we connect with a diversion case manager. And then if that person has somewhere else to go, whether we support them minimal financially or a little bit of rent costs, something like that, to help them secure housing, then we save the beds that are in our shelter for people that have nowhere else to go. We operate multiple REHOUSING programs for families in our community, and then a couple for single women. In order to enroll in a REHOUSING program, you go through our community's coordinated entry system, so everybody gets put on a housing list in our community. We pull people into the program based off of that list, and then once you're in the program, you receive housing-focused case management. So a case manager will help a family search for housing, secure housing. Depending on the program, we'll pay entry costs, so that's security deposit, first month's rent, and some of our programs we guarantee rent for a year. We're now having 2 programs that operate that serve single women, and then during COVID, we started a program that operates serving any singles. So we're serving couples without children, we're serving single males, we're serving single women.
So we've partnered with More Smiles Wisconsin, who is a nonprofit dental clinic here in Dane County. They provide dental services for Medicare or uninsured patients and provide that here on site. And so we provide the space to them and they provide that service to the community. They do anything from tooth extractions to dentures to even cleaning and cavities and things like that. So MEDIC is a student-run organization through UW-Madison where the medical students come and practice and have oversight by a medical provider. So all the guests who stay in the shelter were able to access that clinic. It is here on site. They do prescriptions, they triage, those kind of things. And then if it's a larger need, they'll able to send referrals to partners that would be able to assist with that service. We're also working with MEDIC too. They have a psychiatry clinic that has been offered over at the Beacon and are working with us currently to have a psychiatry clinic here on site to be able to prescribe medications for mental health services.
Okay, so you can see just the need and the services that are being met by Salvation Army services. And there's some big news. Just last month, Salvation Army, in partnership with the city, was able to open a new shelter to move people from those hotels into a more dignified space. The building was actually a nursing home at one time, and the city and Salvation Army were able to transform it into a really welcoming space. Right now, there are 35 families staying there. They're getting resources and case management to help them get to a better situation. And of course, we want to thank Director and Assistant Director of Social Services, Melissa and Tara, for all their hard work. I don't know if you want to stand up for a round of applause. And where's Tara? There they are. Their team has worked so hard to help make a really welcoming space for all the people in need. And when we think back to this time last year, it was a much different world. We were right in the middle of the pandemic. Things were so confusing and a little bit scary for a lot of people, right? And there was a lot of talk about how to prevent COVID outbreaks and how to be safe. And of course, in a shelter space, that's more difficult than in someone's home. So Salvation Army didn't have the resources or the knowledge or the time to be able to navigate all these new things. That's when Bree Laughlin and her organization, Nurse Disrupted, came in to really help make this work and ensure everybody would be safe during the pandemic in shelter. Bree has actually become a member of the Salvation Army board now, and she's here today to talk about some of the services her organization has provided. So you want to come up?
Well, hello. I'm Bree Laughlin from Nurse Disrupted. The past year, the Salvation Army Women's Shelter remained COVID-19 free, in part due to a virtual screening program called Virtual Volunteers. It's very different than other shelters around the nation, but the Dane County Women's Shelter has very innovative leadership in Melissa and Tara. Tireless staff, Deb Cry, went through so much more paperwork to get nursing volunteers, 285 nursing volunteers to be exact, across 6 schools of nursing in Wisconsin to do virtual screening for every single person in the homeless shelter every single day. And Liz also knows her dedication in getting those tablets, the technology up and going every day now in the new family shelter to continue to keep our sheltered guests safe. The thing I like people to know about is you think of the donations, what they do for reducing homelessness, right, for the shelters, but did you realize that your donations helped 215 nursing students across these 6 universities graduate? Why? Because the pandemic closed down practicum sites for nursing students. They would not have had the opportunity to graduate this year. So what you give does so very much. What we're looking to do is post-COVID-19, and it's so nice to see post-COVID-19, expanding services from our nursing students into our homeless shelters. So the other thing that I like people to know is that national eyes are on the women's shelter of Dane County because of this innovation. So anywhere from U.S. News to World Report, Johnson & Johnson, the expansion of telehealth into homeless shelters is a brand new thing. So your donations are also expanding health innovation right here in Dane County in the way that we're delivering care to these shelters. So as we expand these services, I just want you to know how impactful your donations are. They're just incredible. And the Women's Shelter in Dane County will continue to be a hub of innovation. Thank you so much.
We want to thank you, Bree, for telling us about the collaboration and, of course, for everything you've done for the community in the past year. So we've heard about social services, but the Salvation Army does even more than that. The community center on Darbo Drive is usually filled with kids. They do after-school care programs and also summer camps, but in-person programming wasn't possible, of course, during COVID. So staff had to continually shift gears and meet the needs of at-risk community members, especially children. So it's just another example of the evolution that Salvation Army has gone through in the past year. So to talk more about the community center and the programs there, let's welcome Major Melissa Shields.
Thanks, Jennifer. I'm Major Melissa Shields. I work really closely with the people that we have hired for our community center, and we have such a great program and all the kids at our location on Darbo Drive. Typically, we offer low-cost care for kids during the summer and the school year. We offer after-school programs. We offer meals and snacks for them, and just offer them a safe place to be during their day. And during the school year, too, we actually do pick them up from their schools and bring them to our building for our programs. So then their parents don't have to worry about transportation after school, and they know that they're in a safe environment with us. So many of the families we serve are low income and rely on the Salvation Army for our child care, our homework help, and supplemental education and meals. We're excited that at the end of June, we are going to be able to have a small group of kids in our building again. And although we're not going to have our typical day camp, we're excited to have a modified plan for our kids in our neighborhood. And so we're excited about that. At first, with the pandemic, we've struggled with finding a safe way to connect with our families and our kids while our buildings were closed down. But after some brainstorming and some amazing donations that we had from people that we know very well, we came up with the idea of boredom boxes. And so every week in the summer, we created activities, crafts, snacks, and fun family activities that they could do all summer long. And so our team would get those activities together, we would pack them up, and we'd go out in the van and deliver them to their homes every single week throughout the summer. It was a really great opportunity for us. We wanted these items to be versatile. We wanted to create some items for families to enjoy together. And we also wanted to create some independent work for the kids to do as well. And so we had a good balance of both of those things. In the activities, we encouraged the kids to grow, to use their imagination, and to do things that did not require being on a screen. Because we know that school went virtually, and a lot of kids were on the screen all day. And so it was very important for us and for the families to have activities that did not require being on a computer. And I know that our parents really appreciated that as well. We had Second Harvest donated some food for us as well, so it allowed us to take meals to families throughout the pandemic that really needed it. It allowed us to add extra snacks and some fun things for them to have as well during that time. And we had a great support with our advisory board in getting those out to our families as well. But we heard so much positive feedback from our families that not only did we provide this service in the summer, but we carried it through the fall and the winter. And we turned our boredom boxes into family fun boxes just for the weekend. But we really appreciated the fact of having that interaction with our kids and our families throughout that time. And the parents were very appreciative. And you're going to watch a video of one mom who was very thankful for the Salvation Army and the boredom boxes we delivered to her family.
So my daughter has been attending the Salvation Army after school program, which has been like really amazing for her. So she would get picked up from after school, and they do like different activities here, homework help, and they even offering dinner sometimes in the evenings. It's been significantly challenging for us. Really hard for her to not be able to be with anyone else her age, not going to school, not having the after school. And so we had a really rough transition in the beginning. And then I think when the activity kits started, like that's something she really started looking forward to. And so when she gets home from school, she's always excited to see like if the bag or the box is there. And even tomorrow we're going to be going to visit my cousin, and she's like, what if we leave before the Salvation Army thing comes? Like what am I going to do? Things are a little more settled now, but especially towards the beginning, just feel a little overwhelming to even come up with like, what is the next thing we're gonna do? So it's nice to already have like, oh, here's something that we can do together. There's like a parachute one where there was like all different kinds of thicknesses of like the taper we'd use for the parachute and different things we'd hang on it to see like, to be able to measure like how fast or slow it goes down. So those kind of like science, technology, engineering, math, like STEM activities, she's really like enjoyed those as well. When they were having the after school program, the fact that Salvation Army picks the kids up from school and brings them here, again, like I wouldn't have been able to do that transition. Having that was really great for her and to be able to be here with her friends, and then now at least having the activity kits to kind of look forward to has been really great for her. So we just really appreciate all the help and support that we've gotten from Salvation Army.
That's so great. As the mom said, you can just see the impact it had on her own children. The boxes helped break boredom for kids, but it also took stress off of parents. I mean, anyone who's a parent in the room probably knows it was a difficult year, right? So that's really great to see. And if you like numbers, we have some statistics. The community center team delivered 1,316 activity boxes and more than 1,200 boxes of food to families. So that's a really great effort. Let's give everybody a round of applause who was involved in that. And we have another statistic to share while we're at it. 25 women and 94 families who experienced homelessness found permanent housing with help from the Salvation Army last year alone. And that includes 232 children who were sleeping in cars, hotels, shelters, or out in the cold. But now they're in their own homes thanks to the help from the Salvation Army, which is amazing. Wanda, you're going to meet in our next video in just a moment. She's one of the people who made the transition from homelessness to housing. Her story is nothing short of amazing. Wanda arrived at the emergency women's shelter last June, and she used resources from the case managers to really make extraordinary process. So let's hear the rest of the story from Wanda.
I went through an abusive relationship and for 10 years, and I finally got away from that and wound up running and wound up, going through a lot that made me get to this point in my life. I would, start doing good and I would have everything. I had gotten a nice place, I got a nice job, nice car, but like I said, I wound up getting in another relationship that brought me back to the same spot. I wound up homeless. It was very hard. I didn't know how to trust people. This is I believe my third time here at Salvation Army. Like I said, my journey took me up and down, and places that I shouldn't have been. I knew Salvation Army was here. I knew that there would be the support. They said, you know the routine, Wanda. They did that push. We know you could do it. We've seen you do it. This time make it work, and that's, and I did. Like I said, a week later, I had me a job. I started off just cleaning at first, and now I made it to supervisor. They also would help me figure it out, but also they would tell me it's up to me to help myself. Also, see, what could fit you, and that's where I got to the Holly House. They had many options for me to choose, and I heard about the Holly House, not only from them, but from other people, and I was dead on, wanting to get into something secure. And at the Holly House, the case managers was always, there, I could call, you know, and figure out stuff. They helped me, you know, with the apartments, different apartments that I could apply for, and they had many resources that I could fall on. But the view is beautiful. I can see the Capitol from my balcony. I can see the lake. It's very just for me, and I love it, you know. I thank God. God has brought me through a lot. So I thank God for where I'm at, and I don't want to mess that up. I go to bed thanking God. I wake up thanking God. It's mine. It's my apartment. I'm happy. Hey, you know, you see me, I'm crying, but it's tears of joy, actually.
You can see Wanda is such an amazing example of the resilience of the families and the women that the Salvation Army serves every day. And it takes a lot of courage to share a story, such a vulnerable story, with strangers. So we really want to thank her for being willing and excited to talk about her journey. And we have an update on Wanda. 2 days after she spoke with Salvation Army staff, she also secured a second job. So a big congratulations to Wanda, watching out at home today. Stories like Wanda's are what keep Salvation Army staff going and continuing this wonderful work. The reality is, though, these programs that have helped people like Wanda are really costly and expensive, and to keep going, the Salvation Army really needs support from the community. So now is the time we ask for your help. If you want to get your paddles ready, board member Lachelle Lenz is going to take it from here.
Hello, how's everybody doing? So I'm not too embarrassed to tell you that, and some of the people who've known me for a long time in this room will know that I used to have this really super tough mantra. But oh my God, Wanda brought some tears to my eyes. So, I mean, what an exciting, progressive story for her of success. And so for those of you, how many people have been here before at our luncheon? Just by a quick show of hands. Okay, so roughly we'll say about half. So half of you have probably seen me do this before. The other half will be brand new to it. But this is one of my favorite programs that I get to go to every year is this program, because I get to see all of the things that the Salvation Army can do in the community, whether that be food delivery, boredom boxes. But think about when you go home tonight and you walk into your own home, which I'm sure almost every single one of you here have, whether that be an apartment, a small little house, or a big over-the-top home. I want you to just look around and think about how much safety and security and stability come when you just close that door and you can call it your own. When you get to lay your head down on that pillow at night, knowing that you're going to wake up and be able to eat something the next day. I mean, we really, for most of Dane County, we lived a pretty charmed life. I know I do. And I am very thankful for it every day. But if you've ever gone hungry for like an hour, right? You know, like it's time to eat, dinner's not ready, and you feel that hangry part in your stomach, I want you to think about how often that can happen for some of the kids in these programs, or the single women who are living in shelter before they got to shelter and they didn't know where that next meal is going to come from. So, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, I mean, it's really basic, right? I mean, if you are hungry or tired, or, you know, you can't, if your basic needs aren't met, you can't deal with the rest of life, right? And and that's what I love about the Salvation Army. It's simple. We meet the basic needs where people are at, regardless of who they are or how they identify. If someone needs help, these social workers are amazing. And so now today, as we celebrate all the success and hurdles we've overcome in the last year, I'm going to ask you If you're so inclined, if you're able to make a donation today, we're going to walk you through this process. We know that not everybody will be able to donate, and we'll talk about how if you don't have treasure to give, we also need some time too. So I'm going to walk you through that program. So this is our chance to pay it forward and to show or demonstrate that the services that the Salvation Army provide are types of programs that make Madison a great place, and we want to keep things going. So I'm going to try, and can I undo this without breaking it? Okay, I got it. All right. I have a hard time standing still, so I want to just move around just a little bit. Because this has to be an exciting part, right? We've had tons of really exciting things that we've talked about. We've had great progress. Let's celebrate by opening up our pockets and giving a little bit of money so that they can keep doing the rest of the great things that they do. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to stop looking at my notes, and I'm going to try and do this by memory. We all gave you a trusty little paddle like this. It's not just for this, or for, slapping your neighbor when they say something silly. But this number, 114, is my number, and each of you have a number. And we're going to ask for some pledges at a couple different levels today. We're going to ask for a $1,000 pledge. We're going to ask for a $500 pledge, $250, and a $100 pledge is the last pledge that we'll ask for publicly. If I reach a level that resonates with you and it's something that you can give at that level, just, raise your paddle. You can do it quietly and we'll call out your number, or you can raise it really high and be proud and inspire everybody else depending on what your style is. And then we'll record that, and we're going to see, along with all the sponsor donations that we've gotten so far, and we'll add up those donations, we'll add your donations, and we'd like to get to a really big number here. One that'll help keep all these kids going to camp, and women in shelter and families in shelter. Or actually, I should say not in shelter, right? One thing you should know, I like this analogy. The Salvation Army shelter is like an emergency room. And the reason we say that, it's because nobody wants to stay in an emergency room, right? It's there to just help bandage the wound as best possible, take care of that need and move them on into permanent housing. So you see a lot of people come in and out. And another thing that I thought was really cool, what % of people do you think in the community that the Salvation Army serves are local? 88% are local. We're not getting lots of transient people coming in that we're serving. These are people in our community that lost their job. So know that when you give money, it's really staying here and doing a lot of good. So there's a couple different ways to give, and I'm supposed to tell you that if you're watching from home, unfortunately we can't see you raising your imaginary paddle. So whenever you feel compelled to donate, you can click on the link below the video. There should be a link below, hopefully there is, and you can donate on that site. So, all right, so let's get started. Our first level of donations is at $1,000, and if you have the ability to donate today at $1,000, you can raise your hand until I call out your bid number. And what does $1,000 do? Aside from generally supporting all the programs you've heard about today, $1,000 can provide 30 nights of shelter and a meal for one person, while our social services team helps that person move on to the next level. So if there's anyone here ready and willing to donate at the $1,000 level, would you be willing to sneak your paddle up? Yes, thank you so much. We have one person to kick us off, number 95, a second person at 85, a third person at 80. I just love all these faces. This is so great. So 60 or 30, 60, 90, right? So now we got 90 nights. We got a purple paddle back there. The purple paddle means that somebody gave at home $1,000. Thank you very much, person from home. We have number 12, and I'm going to do a sweep for, I need to see the number 26. Thank you very much. Number 22. Plus 500. All right, number 22 is committing to $1,500. Thank you very much. And I wouldn't be up here asking for your money without being willing to give my own money. So in addition to sponsoring the table, Steve, you can write me down for another $1,000 check for number 114. All right. Going once, going twice, number 13. Thank you very much. One more 1,000. Look at all these nights. Did you just raise 13 twice? Do I get to count that just once or twice? We'll clear it up later. All right. Thank you so much. This is such an amazing kickoff to this event, and these numbers that we're going to have are going to be great. So let's move on. Let's talk about the $500 level. If you can give at this $500 level, remember Wanda that we just saw? $500 helps to supplement one person's stay at the Holly House for 1 week. And so Wanda stayed there for 7 months until she was able to get her complete feet on the ground and move on into her own housing. So if you want to help people like Wanda and you're able to give at the $500 level, you can go ahead and show me your paddle. And I got number 17, thank you very much. Number 63, thank you. Number 19, this is a great table. Number 84, thank you very much. 110, 111, you guys are so awesome. Look at all this. 68. And we have 119, 76, 98, 90, number 80 again. So that's a total of 15. Thank you. Anybody else? Number 24. Thank you very much. Anybody else going once, going twice? All right. Now, 250 is our next level. And if you want to help build our community into a better place, $250 is what it costs for a child to go to summer camp for 1 week. So if you think about all these kids who have been dying for some social interaction and some great guidance, we know that Darbo Drive is an amazing, safe place for these kids to go. So if you want to help sponsor 1 week of summer camp for any child in that neighborhood, $250 is our next level. And all you got to do is raise your paddle. We'll record your number. Anybody? All right, number 81, thank you very much. Number 93, number 120, you guys are awesome. Look at all these kids that are going to go to camp. Number 65, fabulous. And number 72, going once, twice. How many more kids can we get to camp? All right, thank you so much. Oh, number 10, thank you very much. All right, I can't wait to see what we're at. Steve's back there adding all these numbers up. So, all right, our very final public donation level is going to be $100. If you'd like to help pay for 3 nights of shelter or 4 weeks of bus transportation for a guest, then today this is the level that you want to go for. And so before I start taking all of those paddle numbers at $100, I just want to also add a couple of things. So for those of you that may not be able to give financially, or you don't want to do it publicly, because, you know, this is kind of weird, right? We're asking for you to raise your paddle. It gives a little peer pressure and kind of excites things a little bit. But if publicly giving is not your thing, it's totally okay. You can always write down something private, and it can be any dollar amount that you're comfortable with. And we thank you for every single one of those donations. But there's also something else on your table, and there's a little card about bell ringing. So just by a quick show of hands, who's raised or rung bells before? Anybody? All right, look at all these amazing bell ringers. Bell ringing is a super easy way to give an hour or 2 hours of your time, and if you do that, we know, studies show us that we generally raise about $100 for every 2 hours of bell ringing. So if you don't have the treasure to pass along today to give, then we also would love to have you to commit to bell ringing. And this summer, we have another summer campaign for bell ringing, and it starts July 16th, if I'm remembering correctly, and it goes through the 31st. So 2 weeks, you'll have a chance to ring bells at some of the grocery stores in the heat of summer and help raise some money. So at the $100 level, let's finish this out, and anyone who can donate $100, we're going to add all these last numbers up, going once, going twice. All right, we got number 60, number 75, thank you so much, number 16, number 23, number 86, 87. We got some donations from home coming in. Thank you very much to our virtual watchers. Number 62, 74, thank you very much. Number 94, thank you. 25 and 113. Thank you very much. 77, 99, 79, and that number's hiding. 78. Okay, I got you at 79 already, I think. Right, Steve? Not 79 twice, but 79 once. Am I going too fast for you? Okay. All right. So let's make one final sweep across the crowd. How many extra nights of shelter can we get for people? I got 61 over here. Raise them high in case I'm going to miss you. Anybody? All right. I want to say thank you so much. I'm going to talk for just a minute here while Steve's adding those numbers up, because what we want to be able to do is give you a total. Steve, you got a total? $37,750, I think I heard. Give yourself a huge round of applause. Thank you so much for your generosity today. And one other thing that I mentioned, if treasure is not in your wallet today to donate to the Salvation Army, there's, aside from bell ringing, there's one other thing that you can really do that will help us. Help share our message. That is the most simplest thing. What we found is a lot of people, unfortunately, in our community don't even know what the Salvation Army does. And if more people understood all the help that we can give people to help get them back to a level so that they can help themselves, it would be tremendously helpful, and we would be very grateful if you could help share that message as well. So thank you very much today. I'm going to hand it back over to Jennifer.
We can't thank you all enough for all of your generosity today and really being a part of bringing change in Dane County.